Hello, I'm Steve Waterworth, Technical Marketing Manager at Weaveworks. In this video, I'm going to show you Weave GitOps DevOps Automation. DevOps is about making the process of creating, delivering, and evolving software more efficient. Cluster operators and platform teams are looking closely at automation features to increase deployment speed without compromising stability and security. GitOps principles are a proven way to increase velocity throughout the software lifecycle. The DORA State of DevOps reports draws a clear correlation between DevOps excellence and enterprise performance. Multiple deployments per day into production with a lead time of less than an hour, with less than 15% of those deployments requiring to be rolled back. In the event of a rollback, service is restored in under an hour. To achieve this level of performance, automation is a must. Weave GitOps is the GitOps platform providing automation throughout the software delivery lifecycle.
Hello, today I'd like to show you our Weave GitOps Enterprise software. This is our commercial offering, go along with our open source offerings such as Flux, Flagger, and our work on the cluster API for cluster creation. Here's our login page, and we support OIDC authentication. Everything within Weave GitOps Enterprise is built around Kubernetes built-in role-based access control, or RBAC. So depending on the user that you log in as, you're going to be presented with a different view of the clusters and applications and regions that you are able to see. I'm going to go ahead and log in as an administrative user that has access to everything. When I log in, I'm presented with our multi-cluster control plane, which is the single pane of glass view into all of the clusters in your environment across all of the cloud providers or your on-premise Kubernetes. You can connect to existing clusters, view the status of ones that are in your environment already, or you can create new clusters. Creating a cluster is done through what we call templates. Templates are configurable and designed to be customized for your environment by your platform team. Because we're the GitOps company, everything is contained within Git, so that's where all modifications are made. In this case, I'm going to create a simple AKS cluster. So when I click on that, create a new cluster, I'm presented with a simplified template with just a few fields to fill out. I'm going to pick East Coast, West Coast, and give my cluster a name. I'm going to create this cluster with just 5 worker nodes. Depending on how you configure this template, any of these fields can be pre-configured, or I could limit the size to a certain number of clusters. This helps enable things like developer self-service to be able to enforce cluster creation in a standard manner. Next, I'm presented with profiles. Profiles are a way to install infrastructure components or applications at bootstrap time. Things like Certificate Manager for managing certificates, DEX for authentication, our product Flagger for progressive delivery, load balancers, ingress controllers, service meshes, Prometheus and Grafana stack for observability, and then our Weave policy agent to help enable trusted delivery. If there are multiple versions available, I can select those. And again, this template could be modified so that it is enforced that certain profiles are installed by default with the approved versioning. I can also configure the namespace I want to put them in, and the layering supports basically, it depends on capability, so that infrastructure tools that need to be loaded first are in layer 0, and applications that are higher up in the stack will be loaded later. Because we're the GitOps company, we don't create this cluster right here and now. We create a pull request within GitHub. So I'm just going to authorize my GitHub access here, allowing Weave GitOps to create that. I'm going to have to validate because security is important. So I'm going to get my 2-factor authentication here. And then back to Weave GitOps Enterprise, my credentials are now detected, and I'm able to create that pull request. Once that pull request is created, I will get a link to open it within Git, and it is subject to my regular Git approval process. So you can see the pull request was created successfully, and here are the files that were changed in order to create that cluster. I can make any changes as a reviewer, and then I can approve it, and that will kick off the bootstrap to actually physically create the cluster using the CAPI provider. On AKS, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. So here's a cluster I created previously, and you can see it is now provisioned and ready to deploy applications to. In order to view the applications, I can just click through there or use the menu bar to the left. And this shows the health and status of all of the applications running on that cluster. Or if I have rights to see more, I can view all of the other clusters in my environment. This provides a real simple way for an end user to see the status of their application, all of the pods and components to that application in both a list and graphical view. If I need to update any of these applications, I can do that in a progressive manner using our delivery section. This utilizes our Flagger product for Canary type rollouts and gives observability into that process as a rollout is planned and commenced automatically. Additionally, I can see the status of the Flux runtime components and any sources that I have configured within Flux. The final piece I'd like to show you is our trusted delivery, and this is using our Weave policy agent to enforce a set of policies that are defined within Git and available to enable on your clusters or to customize as you need. We include about 160 default policies covering a variety of regulatory compliance issues, as well as things like Kubernetes best practices, what we like to call guardrails. A good example of this is containers running as root. I don't want that in my environment, so we have written a policy here that you can utilize to make sure that any code running within your cluster is not running as root. We deploy this policy at runtime within the cluster and in ingress for any new access, and also at the Git level through the use of an action that calls out to the same agent and enforces those policies at code submittal time.
Thank you for watching. I hope you found it informative. To learn more about this topic, follow the bit.ly link or scan the QR code to download a white paper. To find out more about Weave GitOps, visit our website. We regularly host hands-on workshops. To join in, visit our events page.